My biggest fish I hooked all day was probably like a 3-pounder. It comes up and it's hot. I mean it's fighting. I'm gonna go down to the passenger seat of the boat, but there was somebody sitting in my seat. So Chris, who wound up getting to be my marshal on day 2, should have moved and jumped up when I hooked one. He just kind of sitting there filming. I didn't go there because you were sitting there. So as far as coming into Lake Chickamauga, I was, it's a lake that's famous now for really big fish, a lot of big fish. So I always felt like I know how fish set up on the Tennessee River. So I was kind of excited to come in here. It's like, oh my gosh, and wanting to throw big crankbaits, like, the Lucky Craft SKT Magnum MR to me is like, it's the ultimate big fish ledge bait when they're in that 5 to 15 foot zone. So I had anticipation of that and a swim bait and just like swinging for the fence for the, because this tournament, it was for the guys that the major league fishermen that are here, there's no points for us. So it's either win or get a check, and that's that was the 2 goals for all of us this week. The FLW guys, they're still fishing for points, so there's a lot more on the line for those guys. So knowing that it's, okay, we're in June, fish are supposed to be on ledges. That's why I spent most of my time looking out, not necessarily the real deep stuff. I was looking in that 5 to 15 foot zone trying to find that bite. So on the first day of practice, didn't have a videographer for this, no cameras to capture how the day went and all that. It was a 14-hour day on the water. I know that because I felt how tired I was on day 2. But I really focused on trying to chase the current, but the problem was there was no current. So Saturday and Sunday, which was our practice days, there literally was like almost no current coming through the river system. And the way I understand it, Lake Chickamauga has had massive amounts of water coming through it for months on end, and just the whole Tennessee River, I should say. So these fish have been positioned and living in places for the last couple months where the current has dictated where they're gonna live, and a lot of shallow grass. And all of a sudden now they put a cork in it, there's no current, and you're like, well, so the fish just go out and they start suspending and swimming around, and they're not positioned on little key pieces of structure the way they were. My practice was tough. I think that first day, I don't know, maybe I caught 5 or 6 keepers, and I graphed an area in the morning, and it looked good. There's just like, stumps and a little bit of lay down out there, out deeper, kind of in the river system. And so the only highlight of my day was I was coming in, well, let me pull it, check it, fire a 1/2 ounce, or I had a 3/4 ounce jig with a little 3-inch Berkeley chigger craw on it. Here's a little tip, a lot of Tennessee River fishing, if there's not much current and you're dragging a worm or a jig, you start snapping that thing. Pow, like you're almost setting the hook. You make that jig snap. I'm like, the fish aren't active, so let me snap that thing. Wow, wow. I'm like, well, there's a 5-pounder. I'm like, oh, ooh, 5-pounder on a jig. So that was my last cast of the day on this spot. I caught a 5-pounder. I'm like, all right, it's 8 o'clock. I'm done. I'm going in. So I left there not really knowing if I found anything good or not. I was hoping that a couple little spots would pan out decent. So day 2, picked another section of the lake, tried to go look at completely different water. We've got a camera with us, so now we're capturing what's going on the day, how it's progressing. They start getting offshore. It's literally, it's a matter of spending many hours behind the wheel, graphing, trying to find schools, trying to find brush piles, rock piles, whatever. And there's always some little spot somewhere. Still not a lot going on. Never, you see a lot of graph, a lot of fish, and structure scan, this, that, you're marking this brush pile and this, and small groups of fish, you fish for them, they don't bite, and because there's no current again. It's like, man. And still trying to create reaction strikes, like burning a crankbait and deflecting it off stuff, and the fish still wouldn't trigger. They shut down. So day 2, didn't feel like it was real productive as far as finding anything. Ooh, what was that? And I kind of did a progression. So we launched way up in Dayton, pretty far up in the river system. You can go like 30 miles up to the dam, or you go 30 miles down to the dam. So I kind of just worked my way down towards the lower dam each day. Oof. Yeah, it's fixing to dump. So stay here for a little while. We got underneath the little old metal shed dock. Practice has been pretty sucky today, but the good thing is when the rain comes, it feels good for a while. All good, I think. We called it a little bit short. It's 5 o'clock, but there's a whole another series of storms coming in and lightning and all that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need to stay out in that right now. Last day of practice, I didn't want to fish in the crowds here. I was trying to find something out of the way, different. It was hard to do. There was so many boats fishing stuff, and the further you went down the lake, the more boats there were. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, well, I have to go do something different than what I am. So that last day I run down to the lower end of the lake and start fishing. I'm like, the bite I'm trying to make happen is not happening. The one thing I noticed every time I picked up a shaky head, I had a little straight money worm on it, I got a bite. My power fishing mega bait thing is not working, so then it became survival mode. How do we get into this? So I started fishing a spinning rod more, shaking it straight money, bite, 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 bite. I'm like, I found one little corner indentation right on a main river channel swing, and there was a school of fish on it. Looked like maybe 20 fish around the little point. Oh, that's good. Turn around, fire, make one cast, catch a 5-pounder. I'm like, beep beep. A little waypoint. Nonchalantly. Hi. So now I've caught a 5-pounder. These fish down here, and I'm 30 miles from where I thought I was gonna be fishing. So now it's like, golly, what do you? But hey, at least I have options now. Maybe if my stuff upriver doesn't pan out and I don't catch, I don't know, a good bag of fish up there, then I'll have to run down here. We moved on. I actually had a couple more bites going down the ledge further. I was just using the structure scan on the Lowrance, go down. You'd see 2 or 3 fish and some bait around, and pull around, fire back up there, shake one off. All right, I got something, but it's not where I wanted to be, down in the crowds. So I figured that was gonna be backup water, just in case. Covered a lot of water, did a lot of different things, and I really was in transition. I was trying to understand, are they shallow, are they deep? And I realized I think there's a lot more fish shallow in the grass, and I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. So I just felt like I was lost. Lost in between is what I was. So day 1 of competition on boat 154. All right, let's back up a little bit. So I haven't fished a 5-fish limit tournament in a couple years. I don't even know if my live wells worked on my boat because I haven't turned them on. I had to go break my culling system out of retirement. So just the mindset of getting back is like, oh gosh, okay, this is different. This is the Super Tournament was the cause of COVID-19 and the world shutting down, and this is how we regroup to be able to allow FLW and Major League Fishing to be able to fish more events. So we just kind of combined for a few tournaments this year to help, help everybody. So if you get questioning about how the Major League Fishing guys got in there and how if they mess up the points, basically wherever the MLF guys were in the standings, you just take all them out of the equation. The FLW guys get their points based on where they placed. So we did not affect their points at all. It was a $10,000 check, I believe, all the way down to 100th place. I think 102 places got paid. So day 1 of the tournament, I actually found a tree the first day of practice. I had a 7-inch straight money, plum, Nico rig, 4-pounder. Oh my gosh, I found the motherlode tree. I'm like, hoping nobody finds it. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this might be one of those trees that you pull up and you catch 20 pounds off of one tree. I roll up there, I'm like, all right, I'm nervous, okay, nobody pulled up on it. I fire my worm up there, and oh man, I never had a bite off it. My magic tree is not a magic tree. So from there, it went into scramble mode a little bit. All right, let's go run over another little spot. Actually caught one.
We got one on the boat. I'm putting one in the live well. This feels really weird right now. Yes. Hell yeah.
And then I went to where I caught that 5-pounder in practice. I'm like, all right, so let's try this. And I fishing through, nothing. I'm like, God, man. So I turn back around.
Oh, whew. Hello, tree.
The whole deal was like shaking, so I was like, never stopping this. And all of a sudden just. So I pull up in a spot. I catch 3. Go back out there. And it gets in a tree, and it's one of those big ones you can feel it. Breaks me off.
I'm sure there's gonna be one out there out deeper. Oh, there was. I just broke it off. You did not. Yes, you did.
That really sucked right there. At this point in time, I'm starting to scramble. It's like, okay, my magic tree wasn't magical. I got, I think, 3 or 4 fish in the boat, and now I'm pissed. Screw it, let's run down the lower end of the lake. I'm like a 1/4 mile away from it, but just gets right on the spot in front of me. I'm like, because it's a tiny spot. I mean, it's the size of maybe 2 or 3 boats. So finally, the guy leaves. So I slide over there. I just get right on the dew. I started catching them. I culled out, I think, 3 fish. Caught a limit there. A 13-pound, 8-ounce day off that spot. I was 1 bite away from having a decent bag, but it was one of those deals where at least I salvaged the day. I made a decision. I got to do something different. I got to go down there. It's what I know.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are at 6:01. We still got 29 minutes for takeoff, but it takes a little longer to launch 207 boats or whatever it is. Today's gonna be an interesting day, but but I actually got Chris, my videographer, gets to ride with me today as my boat official, or my marshal. And so this is gonna be cool. You guys are all going to get an up close, personal, in the boat lifestyle piece of what it's like for a day of competition for me.
Well, if I can get down there first, I'm gonna find the first boat on that ledge down there and catch some fish. So that's what I did. I ran all the way down there, and it's a 30-mile boat run that you're like, God, I hope there's not somebody on the spot. The ledge fishing, this is how it goes. So I get all the way down there, and I'm like, no boats. I'm like, yes. That one is.
All right. Do we have a keeper? I believe it is. Oh yeah, we're on the board, number 1. I got a little chunky 2.5 or something, 2.25. We're gonna measure them just to see. Oh shoot, that's a keeper. Justin Lucas is sitting in, I think, 4th or 5th place, something like that. And he caught all his fish on a 7-inch straight money. All right. Okay. That's not too bad.
So I get lined up on it. I caught a limit for probably 11 pounds. But the whole time I'm thinking, it's like, if they're here, why? You know, that first day I caught a 5-pounder, first cast. So I know there's a 5-pounder down here somewhere. There's gotta be big ones. It was the first time somebody asked me, there was a gentleman, he was fishing the tournament, I think it was AJ. I'm locked on, I've got the Ghost on spot lock. He pulls up down there and he's fishing. He pulls up and he catches one and he asks, he goes, hey, can I come fish that school with you? Did he? He just asked me if he can come fish the spot with me. I was like, all right, FLW guys, they're fishing for points. I'm just fishing for a check. He said, all right, just don't mess with my line, you can come on. So yeah, I let him come down. He got side by side. He actually caught a couple, I believe, there, and so he was appreciative and he was able to get on the spot, and I left, and I don't know what he wanted. He probably caught 18 pounds off it, I have no idea. I believe that's number 5. I believe that gets rid of the little one in there. Keep them short. So as you can see right here, I don't have to hold this up above my head. 4 is next. Yeah, because a lot of guys have these long clips, long things, and they're up here trying to balance them. Keep it short. That was one of those deals. So then I ran back upriver to go fish my other stuff. And the problem is I had like 20 miles in between where I was fishing. I go to my magic tree. I'm like, all right, there's current flowing now. I'm like, I'm gonna catch them. Crickets, nothing again. Dang it. There's one little grass spot close by. I pull in there. This is where I noticed on the first day of the tournament, I was throwing a shaky head up in the grass and it just wasn't coming through good. Having a hard time. So I rigged up a rod just for this one spot. 7'4" medium heavy action rod, 15 pound, 100% fluorocarbon. And I took a 6-inch straight money and rigged it with a 3/0 trocar and a Texas rig sliding sinker, like a 3/16 ounce sinker. And just be able to cast in the grass, I could pull it through the grass easier. Yeah. We got a coal. I'm fishing with a shaky head, and that's all because everybody's been on a shaky head. And I'm fishing, nothing. I'm like, what's going on? Boom. I got a giant catfish. Okay. Boom. Another big catfish. I got the catfish booger. Look at that. Where'd the bass go? So I fish her up and down this ledge a few times, and I'm like, man, this sucks. I'm like, well, let me pick up a jig. I haven't caught a jig since that one day of practice, the one big one. My biggest fish I hooked all day was probably like a 3-pounder. It comes up and it's hot. I mean, it's fighting. I'm gonna go down to the passenger seat of the boat, but there was somebody sitting in my seat. So Chris, who wound up getting to be my marshal on day 2, was sitting in the seat, and he's not really, he should have moved and jumped up when I hooked one. He just kind of was sitting there filming. So I look at him, I look at the fish, and I can't go down to where the passenger seat to land him like I would. So I'm like, oh, I'll just swing him. And I go to swing him in, and he comes off. And I was like, that was stupid. But it wasn't Chris's fault, it was my fault. So, but it was a oh crap moment. Hope that doesn't cost me. Wasn't a great day, but I'm like, you know what? If I got 12 pounds, I'm good. It was either you fish for a win or you fish for a paycheck. The paycheck here, from 31st to 100th place, all got the same amount of money, so $10,000 paycheck. So at that point in time, I just turned into survival mode, just like, all right, I didn't get a win, I didn't figure it out. My pride's hurt, I didn't figure out how to catch, 15, 18, 20 pounds a day. Yeah, I just turned into a survival mode tournament, but I'm thinking, okay, I got 12 pounds. I should be fine. I mean, 12.5 pounds was the cut the day before. I'm pushing, 25, 26 pounds. I should be good. As I'm in line, I'm looking around and I'm listening to all the weights. They caught the crap out of it. I think the cut weight's going up today because everybody around me's got bigger bags than the day before. So then all of a sudden, I was third flight, weighed my fish. So for the next hour and a half, I'm watching the leaderboard on my phone, an FLW, and oh crap, I'm dropping fast. It's like tick, 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 and all of a sudden I'm thinking, I am not going to make the 100 cut and get a check here. This can't happen. This is not going good. And this is like going back to the old days. It's like my wife, Kim, says, she goes, man, this is like old days. I was worrying about leaderboards and following where you're at. And like, am I gonna get a check? And it's exactly what it was. It was like, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. So I'm down to 98th place. And there's 3 guys on the board that, on the leaderboard that hadn't weighed in yet. I'm like, and all of a sudden, but it stalls out, like it's not updating, and like, it's like, okay, I gotta beat 2 of those guys. It just stayed at 98. So I'm like, whew. That's where I stayed. So I stayed in the top 100. Yes, I got my check. So I get to go home early and see my family. I still got paid. I made as much as the guy that finished 31st. It was good, no points on the line. I do not miss 5 fish tournaments. I don't miss culling fish. The Bass Pro Tour format, what we have there it's way more intense. So it allows, 5 fish limits, you fish maybe more relaxed all day. And all day long, I'm like, where's my score tracker update? I want to know where I'm at. What's everybody doing? Do I have to adjust? So that was what was really weird. I'm so conditioned to score tracker, and allowing that to be part of the game in the process and decision making, and you playing offense, defense, how do you do it? But overall, I think it was a great event. The guys, everybody, hey, we fished 204 boats this week. We got somebody that's gonna win $125,000. That doesn't suck. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed the coverage from this first Super Tournament with Major League Fishing and Bass Pro Tour. I enjoyed it. I got a check. I'm out of here. So make sure you like, subscribe, Skeet, Reese Fishing. Until next time, go jack a big one.